So today I'm going to go over the medial arch of the foot, and I'll go over 2 exercises to work on it. First, it's important to understand what the medial arch is. The medial arch is the inside of the foot. It's the part of the foot that a lot of people look to see if somebody's flat-footed or if they have high arches. In the PT world, we often say is somebody overpronating or someone underpronating and oversupinating. And there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of muscles, there's a lot of biomechanical processes that can influence whether the foot pronates or supinates. It can be everything from how stiff is somebody's big toe to how strong is their hip. I mean, there's a lot that can go into it. But to try to keep it simple, if you look at that medial arch, the people that tend to overpronate have trouble lifting that arch up. They have trouble approximating the first met head of the foot and the heel. Whereas people that oversupinate and underpronate, they have trouble almost loading it and stretching it out. A lot of people go wrong with foot exercises when they take a one-size-fits-all approach. Feet are very different person to person, and how the mechanics influence how they move is very unique, and that's why people need specific exercises to work on their specific foot. An easy place to start is to separate people into just 2 categories. Do people overpronate? Do they have trouble controlling that arch? Is it going towards the ground too much? Or do they oversupinate? Do they go onto the outside of their foot? Do they have trouble getting the inside down? And when you're working out, you can think of your foot as a tripod, would be a simple way to think of it. There's 3 points to a tripod, and your foot has those 3 points. One will be that outside met head of the 5th pinky toe. The other one is going to be the met head of that first big toe. And then the last one is going to be that heel. So that essentially creates a stable base of support between those 3 points. And as I described, today we're talking mostly about this inside one, this medial arch line of that tripod. Some people have, as I mentioned, some people have trouble shortening that line. Other people have trouble lengthening it. So for somebody that overpronates, they're going to want to work on trying to shorten that arch and making sure they're not falling too far over that line when they work out. For people that oversupinate, they want to make sure you don't fall too far on the outside of the foot and that you are able to feel that medial arch. Oftentimes, just feeling the medial arch will help correct it either way. Because feeling it for the supinators will help people bring their arch down and pronate more. When the pronators feel it, it tends to activate muscles that pull it up. A lot of times when people lose one of those lines of the tripod, essentially they're functioning on ice skates. Instead of running on this nice stable surface, this tripod surface, they either fall into overpronation and they end up running on an ice skate on the inside, or they fall into too much supination and they run on an ice skate on the outside. So here's 2 exercises, and I'll go over which ones are better for supinators and which ones are better for pronators. Of course, this isn't conclusive, so if you want more exercises, go to this channel's YouTube page, and you can just click under playlist and you can find a playlist with a bunch of foot exercises. Also, feel free to comment below if you have any specific questions. The entry point to working on medial arch stability is going to be with toe yoga. And there's 2 ways to do it. The first way, you keep the 4 toes down and you lift the big toe up. In doing so, that'll activate the windlass mechanism, which will help pull the arch up. You can see as my toe comes up, the arch naturally comes up. So doing toe yoga with the big toe up will help the overpronators by activating that muscle there. There's an exercise you can build on top of that called Veal's Lean. You can look that up on this channel's page if you want to learn more about that. For the underpronators, the oversupinators, the other exercise, the other toe yoga will be more beneficial. And I tend to have a higher arch, and this one's a little tougher for me. And you keep the big toe down and you try to lift the other toes. And it's subtle, but if I let my ankle and my whole foot go, that actually drives that overall pronation of the lower extremity, that internal rotation moment, and will drive my foot more towards the arch. So of course you want to keep the knee straight as you do these toe yoga exercises. Some people need to start sitting down. Some people need to actually start by blocking toes to gain that proprioception and motor control. But that's a great way to start to build or to stretch out the arch and to raise that awareness of what's going on that medial arch of your foot. A more advanced way to work on this is to use a band. And so the direction of the band is going to make a big difference. For people that have high arches, you want to use the band where it's going to pull you into that high arch. And in doing so, your body will naturally fight the band and it'll get you to pronate. So what I have my patients that over supinate do is they get the band on, then they push into it gently, and then you can add an exercise like single leg balance on top of that. You could have somebody squat with the band, single leg deadlifts. The options are endless, but what the band will do is it'll give your brain that cue to lengthen that medial arch and to create a more neutral foot. If you're an overpronator, you would do it the opposite way. You would put the band on the outside of the ankle, right under that malleoli, right under the ankle bone, and now the band's going to pull me into pronation. So I will naturally try to pull into that band to prevent that motion. And then you can add, again, you can add single leg balance. You can add all sorts of different exercises. Another benefit of the band is that it gives you a proprioceptive cue. So you don't have to think and cerebrally create so much body awareness and force. You just don't let the band pull you out, and your foot will naturally fix it in a way that it needs to be. This obviously works best if you know whether you overpronate or oversupinate, if you have a low arch or a high arch. If you don't know, you could try both ways of these exercises and figure out which one's tougher, and that might be the right one for you. And the foot's very important. It's how our brain and our body first reacts with the ground. So getting things right at the foot can have a lot of impact up the chain. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll try to respond. But I think this will help a lot of people.